What's up, y'all? Quentin here with Catfish Karma, and in today's episode of One Spot, One Fish, it's late winter. We've got pre-flood conditions. The river's on a fast rise of more than 20 feet, but the water temperature is also rising. So I've set up nice and shallow. We're looking for channel cats and blue cats. Let's do this. There we go. It looks like a channel cat bite to me. I don't remember what bait that is. Actually, I think it's a head bait. And I think he's swimming with it. Here we go. We're gonna give it a shot. Ah! Right back out it goes. Whoa! There we go. I wasn't even looking. I just heard drag. That sucker bit hard. This is really shallow here too, so no telling where this fish is gonna go. It's not huge, but aggressive, obviously. I love it when they bite like that. This was a big body section, a big chunk. Yeah, definitely not a giant, but sweet takedown though. All right. Oh, let's see. Came all the way up under the boat here. The dude's aggressive. There we go. Check that out. About 15 pounds or so, something like that. Nice and aggressive bite. Pulling a little drag. He bit a huge body section. I know the episode is called One Spot, One Fish, but stick around. Let's see what happens. All right, since we got a little action here, why not show you guys exactly what I'm fishing and explain why I'm fishing this spot. As I mentioned, the river is, well, we're pre-flood right now, but it's on a more than 20 foot rise in just a few days. Now this is actually not even the river. This is just a secondary channel. The main river is, well, almost a mile from here. But you can see there's a lot of current, tons of logs and whole trees and refrigerators and everything you can imagine, just everywhere. It's an obstacle course out there. And I'm actually up on a flooded sandbar that would normally be covered in, you know, that stuff. Willows, mainly. Driftwood, that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's just a sandbar. Over here, it's like 3 and 4 feet deep. That line, that number 2 rod is maybe in 6 or 8 feet. And these are, you know, maybe 8 to 10 feet over here. So fishing really shallow And the reason I'm doing that is, for one thing, the river's rising, so sometimes it's beneficial to follow the water. A lot of times the fish will sort of do the same thing the water's doing, go up and out. And in addition to that, the water temperature's coming up a lot because we've had some warm rain. So a week ago when I was out, the water was 33. Today it's like 42. So another good reason to go shallow. So that's that. I really feel like this rod over here should have already had some action. I know this spot pretty good, and typically I should at least be picking up some channel cat bites over here. So I'm gonna freshen up the bait, and I'm gonna cast it just a little farther than what it was. Exactly what I want. I'll show you. That one landed about 3 feet on this side of that log that you can see laying down there. So right there. All right, folks. That sun is starting to get a little low in the sky. There's not a whole lot going on, and I don't like the idea of ending this episode with just one fish, even if it is called One Spot, One Fish. So I'm going to do a little bit of bonus footage. A lot of you have been asking about this. You know, a lot of you have been asking about the boat in general, but I've had lots of requests to show more of the bait and sinker station, so that's what I'm going to do. Obviously, it's not going to be a DIY on how to build one, but we're going to talk about it a little bit, and maybe it will help out some of you who might be setting up your boat to make it a little bit more efficient. All right, diving right into this before I lose too much of my light there. I'm sure some of you are initially going to look at this and say, oh, that would never work for me because I have a live well and I wouldn't be able to get into my live well. Wrong. There's a way to get around that. Don't be stuck by what you've already got. Think outside the box. If you have the ability to cut these pieces and weld them together, or just cut them and take them to a shop and ask them to weld them for you, then you also have the ability to deal with the challenges of your live well lid. One option is you could mount it high enough that your live well would still open fully and you could, work around it. But another option, and the option that I would go with, most of the, let's just say the Sea Arc and the G3, a lot of them have a huge live well lid that pretty much goes from one side from one side of the boat to the other. A simple solution is to go with like a 70-30 split live well lid, or a 60-40, like a seat in a truck, where one half is huge and then the other half is just a small portion of it. Say, the width of this bag here was a separate lid. I could still use my whole live well only opening that. Sure, it might be a little bit more of a challenge, but let's be honest. I mean, how often are we really going to be limited by that? Or at least that's in my opinion, but I don't do a ton of tournaments. So moving forward, I'm not going to talk too much about how I mounted it because this is a smoker craft and there's not that many smoker crafts used in the catfishing world, but it is mounted to a track system, so that was super easy for me. You guys could screw it to the front wall of your live well, or whatever you see fit. It could even be mounted to the floor. But this is actually quite simple. All this really is 2 trays. This is a tray just made out of 2-inch angle, just regular old, I guess you'd call it an angle iron. It's aluminum, but 2-inch angle made into a box. And then I had another piece of angle right here to give just a little bit more surface area to ensure that whatever cooler I chose to put in here would have plenty of space to set on. I didn't fill it all in because I'm trying to keep it lightweight. There's bungees on here to hold the cooler on. And then down below the cooler tray is just another tray. Again, it's just made out of 2-inch angle. I first built the outer perimeter, and then I came in and I put in these dividers. Again, just 2-inch angle, cut from front to back. As you can see, it's just segmented across here. This one I made a little bit bigger because I knew I'd put my huge cannonballs in here. And so this one I cut just a strip of 2-inch aluminum to go in between this piece of 2-inch angle and that piece of 2-inch angle, if that makes sense. So it gave me 4 compartments. It's plenty sturdy. It's very lightweight, very low cost. I mean, this whole thing was made out of 1 stick of 2-inch angle, and then a couple of 1.5 inch square tubes for the legs, which were scrap. So not much money in this. I did go ahead and line these compartments with some Gorilla Tape, just so that, I don't know, every once in a while, at certain speeds or certain RPMs, or maybe there's like a lot of wind chop or something, you could hear the sinkers rattling a little bit. So Gorilla Tape took care of that, and now it's nice and quiet. When I put this bottom tray in, as you can see, I welded it in a little bit farther forward and at a slight angle, just so that the sinkers would stay rolled to the front, making them easy to get to. The angle doesn't matter as long as you don't go so steep that they want to come tumbling out. That never happens. So yeah, you've got a sinker tray, you've got a place to wrap your washdown hose if you're running a washdown hose, and then a tray to put your cooler and cutting board, like that. This cooler's pretty handy, just a igloo from Academy. It's got a little place there for the knife. This bungee cord comes up through the handle and back down to the tray. Same on both sides. It's really secure. It's never going to go anywhere at any speed. No matter how rough the water gets, it's not going anywhere. And this was a piece of cutting board that I picked up at a plastic supply place. I just took a Sharpie and, drew out the lines to make the pattern that I wanted to make, so that when I spray this, I'll show you, when I spray it, all the water actually goes straight into my splash well back there and then runs right out the back of the boat. It'll just run right out there, right into the splash well. This, by the way, this is really neat. I took a brush, cut the handle off of it, drilled a big hole in it, and then I threaded that hole for a garden hose fitting, because this spray nozzle has garden hose threads at the end of the nozzle. And this does a few things. Obviously, it acts as a scrubbing tool. All right, but it also controls the blast from this sprayer. I mean, this thing puts out a lot of volume, right? And that stuff will go all over the place and get all over everybody and all my stuff. But the bristles control it. Pretty cool, right? So, again, save space. The stuff that is, communal, that everybody on the boat needs to use is centrally located, so you're not crossing over each other all the time. Multiple things in one spot. And not a lot of money. One last thing that you might be wondering about is this bar right here. Like, what's that about? Is that a magnetic bar? Yes, it is. So, nobody wants to accidentally get a hook through the hand or through the leg or whatever. So a lot of times when I'm baiting up, what I'll do is I'll just set the sinker that's on the line that I'm working with right there, or even down in the tray, and I'll just let this get stuck right there while I get my bait out, cut it up, and then put it on the hook, ready to go. It's a little safer than just letting it slide around and fall off the table and end up in the floor or wherever. And that's it, guys. That's my bait and sinker station in the old smoker craft. Something simple, something you can do in your garage. It makes things more efficient, makes the communal stuff centrally located. I dig it. I'm happy with it. That's pretty much it. you guys are interested in seeing that that live well video that I mentioned, let me know in the comments below. I'll see you in the next video.